You're listening to The Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with Lyndia Grant.
Thank you for tuning in to The Lyndia Grant Show. Well, Election Day is only about 4 days away, Friday, and then on Tuesday, it's all she wrote. The pencil broke. We are praying for a safe election and that things will go well. And so I asked Dr. Julianne Malvo and Attorney Dana Stebbins to talk about it. So Dana Stebbins is going to be here our second half, reminding us just how important this time is for us to get out and vote and to make sure someone else goes. This is Lyndia Grant here at Spirit 1340. And I ask that you get ready to hear Dr. Julianne Malvo. Dr. Malvo is going to talk to us and also tell us why it's urgent for us to get out here and vote on Tuesday. Dr. Julianne Malvo.
Lyndia, it's always a pleasure to be with you, but this particular broadcast is one of our most important. Here's why. What's at stake? What are we going to lose if people don't vote? I know we don't do opinion, but yes, we do opinion if you're talking to me. Mm-hmm. And you know what? The orange man is dangerous. People have laid it out. We know what he'll do if he comes in. He's talking about prosecuting people and the enemy from within. So it's all election all the time right now. Not only must you vote, you must get somebody else to vote with you. Let's talk a bit about what's going on. There was a rally at Madison Square Garden on Sunday where the vilest terms were used to describe our Puerto Rican brothers and sisters. And remember that many Puerto Ricans are also black. And he always goes after black people and other people. But in any case, he had a comedian there who talks about a island of garbage. Then they said it was a joke. Well, ain't nobody laughing, but they say it was a joke. They're purging voters in Virginia. They're basically eroding our voting rights beforehand and telling us what they're going to do if they win. Meanwhile, our vice president, stunningly on point at the Ellipse on Tuesday evening, more than 75,000 people there. I mentioned that because, you know, brother man, Mr. Trump loves to talk about crowd size. And as President Obama kind of tore him a new one about that. But anyway, that was funny. But anyway, 75,000, and they had to get an overflow room. There were so many people there. And what she talked about is whether you want a country that's built on division or whether you want to move forward. And that's what she's talking about. Meanwhile, all his stuff is again. Make America great again. Make America wealthy again. These his themes, again, means going backward, and we know what going backward means. So we're not going for that. So in any case, we're looking at states. People, if you're listening and you have friends in Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona, call them, say, please vote. Make sure you vote. Healthcare is on the agenda. There's so many things that are on the agenda. There's things we need to do. Meanwhile, we got some wusses in the house. Wusses. What do I mean, Lyndia? How does Jeff Bezos decide at the last minute the Post does not endorse? They've been endorsing. Since 1976, when they endorsed Jimmy Carter, they've endorsed Clinton, Biden. They have endorsed, but now all of a sudden they're not endorsed. But let's see, how much money does Jeff Bezos get off of the Orange Man? Not in terms of a cash payback. How about with Amazon and with other things? How many government offices order supplies from Amazon? So let's just be clear. Let's just be clear that Bezos basically put his thumb on the scale. He said, oh, we don't endorse anymore. You're a liar. You have endorsed. Bezos in D.C., but also in L.A., both of them have experienced hundreds of thousands of cancellations, subscriptions. I'm still up in the air about mine. Part of it is I have so many friends who work for the Washington Post. I don't want to hurt them. And I will send my little nasty letters from time to time. But this is awful. And by the end of the week, I might just say, give it up, give it up, give it up. So there we have that. So this whole enemy within the Post to the LA Times, and then Elon Musk, whatever his name is,
Elon,
has these calls with Putin. Excuse me? But he has over $15 billion worth of contracts with the United States government. So if one wonders why he has billions of contracts, he could spend a few million trying to get the Orange Man elected, and that's what he's been doing. How does a private contractor develop a relationship? Let me repeat, develop a relationship with a foreign enemy. Everybody knows that Russia and the United States do not sit horses. They are enemies. They don't have to be. There's some issues. We can work some things out. But Musk is going around the State Department, around Homeland Security, to have his private conversations with Putin. We all should be outraged about that. And if that means that he's going to dance on the stage with the Orange Man, and let's not talk about dancing on the stage, but this man, we had nothing else to say. He just kind of dances. And it would be different if he could dance. But he can't. What he does is sits there, sways from side to side, and pulls out his trophy wife whenever it works. And she was there at Madison Square Garden saying a few things. I don't know what to say about that. One of the things that's challenging as we talk about, as we move to the countdown, I really want to sing, Lyndia, but you know I can't. But you better song, hey, hey, it's going to be a showdown. Anyway, no, I don't like to sing. I'm not very good at it. But what we do know here is that, again, the Ukraine is on the table, and whether or not what's going to happen there, the Democrats would attempt to assist. Mr. Trump has said, let them just fight it out. Let's not let them fight it out. It's Russia. It's Russia. And he always bows down and bends over for Russia. But we need to deal with that. Now, we do know that there is not only election suppression, but election interference. In Portland, Oregon, 2 ballot boxes were set afire. So I don't know whether those votes will be recovered or not. We're seeing things like that. We're seeing essentially, what can I say? We're seeing election interference, and, Kamala Harris has got to win this election so that John Trump can take his motley hind parts to jail. Because basically, if he wins, he'll pardon everybody. And when he pardons everybody, what he's going to do is avoid the criminal charges against him that are clear and focused. And we know that. So we ask, what's at stake? What's at stake? The Department of Education, where many of our young people get Title I money. If you are a teacher in a low-income school, you're getting a salary supplement because of Title I. You're getting more than that as you look at it. You're looking at subsidies to our young people who are of low and moderate income. That is what they would get rid of. They would get rid of any environmental protection. They would get rid of any consumer protections, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They would get rid of, the list is too long. A lot of people say they just want to look at the platform. No, read parts of Project 2025 or, equally importantly, Agenda 47. See, Mr. Trump says he didn't do Project 2025. Other people did it.
Only 1 minute left.
Yes, ma'am. That is true. He didn't do it. But basically, a lot of his people did it. And then what we have to do is flip over to look at what Vice President Harris has put out there, not the Democratic platform, but go online and look at her economic agenda. $25,000 for new homeowners. We can go down the list. I don't have but a minute, so I ain't going to go down all the way down the list. Here's what I want to say, people. Voting is critical. It's extremely important. We're at a crossroads. We are at a crossroads. And at this crossroads, you know what to do. It's called vote and do the right thing. Thank you, Lyndia.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Julian. We are so happy that you talked to everybody today. And now we're going to go to our commercial break, and we'll be back in a moment.
If it wasn't for my care coach at AmeriHealth, I probably wouldn't be so healthy right now. As a man, you know we don't get checkups or see a doctor regularly anyways. It's probably just a man thing because none of my partners go either. We know we should, but we just don't, and hope it works out.
So what changed for you?
AmeriHealth assigned me a care coach, somebody that gives one-on-one help, answer questions, explain things, and help set my appointments. She also helped me understand what having high blood pressure really means and ways to manage it so it doesn't kill me. It ain't nothing to play with. If you're a member of AmeriHealth, ask for a care coach. I'm glad I got mine.
At AmeriHealth, if you need a care coach, you can have one. Just call us at 1-877-759-6224 to get connected. 1-877-759-6224. This program is funded in part by the government of the District of Columbia Department of Healthcare Finance. Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Washington Informer religion columnist Lyndia Grant.
Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a segregated Montgomery bus. In lectures on brotherhood, Ms. Parks often said, "People always say that I didn't give up my seat because I was tired." But that wasn't true. I was not tired physically. I was not old. I was 42. No, the only tired I was tired of giving in. Driven out of Montgomery by harassment and death threats, Detroit, Michigan became her new home. Rosa Parks will always be remembered as the mother of the civil rights movement. Raised in the AME church, she once said, "I remember finding such comfort and peace while reading the Bible."
Read more in the religion column of the Washington Informer, an award-winning African-American newspaper. We don't report crime or gossip, just positive news. Pick up the Washington Informer or visit us online at washingtoninformer.com. Call 202-561-4100 for more information.
This is Frank Smith with the African American Civil War Museum in Washington, D.C., located at 1925 Vermont Avenue Northwest on the Green Line. Did you know that a recent study found that children who visit museums do better in school and in life than children who do not? So parents, teachers, and preachers, let's get moving. I promise you, if you bring your children to the African American Civil War Museum, they will be inspired by the images that they see. They will be impressed by our living history reenactors who are always available, and they will be involved in our scavenger hunt that takes them throughout our exhibit. That's the African American Civil War Museum, 1925 Vermont Avenue. Our hours are 10 to 6:30 on weekdays, 12 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. See it. Be inspired.
And we're back. You're listening to the Lyndia Grant Show. Now we're going to go to the second half of our show. Our guest is coming back again this week, Attorney Dana Stebbins. And Dana has been talking to us about the state of democracy in America, and we are only a few days away from Election Day. Election Day is coming up this Tuesday. I'm telling you, this is critical right now. So I'm just going to talk to Dana and say, welcome to the show, Dana. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Lyndia. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. But Dana, with everything we've talked about during this series of yours on democracy, tell me, how in the world is it that this election can be so close? It boggles my mind to even think about it.
That's a good question because we've talked about a lot. We talked about Project 2025. Talked about Chinese interference in the election, Russian interference in the election, talked about internal threats from inside with voter suppression. So the only thing I can surmise is that people are just beginning now to pay attention in some instances. People don't start paying attention until it gets down to the wire. Mm-hmm. And some have yet to realize how serious this is. And then for some, for selfish reasons, they believe that no matter how bad this country becomes, they'll be okay. So they're not worried about the rest of us.
Right. They can't imagine what we all are thinking that can happen.
That's true.
And when I listen to it sometimes, Dana, I wonder, is it that they want to go back to the days of Gone with the Wind? You know, that's what it feels like in my spirit.
Yeah.
So tell me, next question I want to ask, is it truly a battle against evil? It is sounding like it is.
It definitely is. It definitely is. People talk about fascism, that the Republican candidate wants a government that's a fascist government. And when you understand what fascism is, it's all about evil. Fascism is about a dictatorial leadership where all the power is centralized in one person and in the military. And there the military can forcibly suppress all opposition. So it subordinates individual interests, and it's a regimented society where it is structured so that only a few people reap the benefit. That's exactly what Project 2025 says. It's exactly what he's saying at his rallies. He's talking about that. So it's a battle against not only fascism, which is evil, but against racism, against classism, against sexism, against chauvinism, against isolationism. We're fighting all of those things because they are fighting to return them. The reason it's evil, and not just a difference of opinion, is that their quest is to restore or retain power such that quest to be powerful has corrupted everybody that's involved. They're corrupt to the point where they will resort to any means necessary to retain power. That means the lies they tell every day, the slanderous things they say about the opposition, the fact that they have tried to suppress over 23,000 voters in states that are largely Democratic. They have stolen ballots. And most recently, people are burning ballot boxes where people have already voted. So the quest for power is corrupting them to the point that all they can see is that they need to be in charge. And it is evil versus good now. It is a battle against our survival and theirs.
And setting the stage for when he loses, if he should lose.
Yes.
It's a setup coming on right now.
Exactly.
Already.
They have already started talking about the irregularities and illegal things that are going on in early voting. He has already put the National Guard on notice that if he loses, he's going to ask his friends in Congress to call out the National Guard. Why would he do that? Other than to frighten people and scare people and be prepared for anything that might happen and have the forces of power on his side, as he did last time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's talk about the next few minutes then. Tell us all what we can do with only 1 week left.
Well, Michelle Obama said do something. Mm-hmm. I'm going to deviate from that a moment and just say do everything. Do everything you can. Call your neighbors. Call your friends. Make sure they vote. Canvass. Go door to door. Ask people, who are you voting for? Have you voted? Do you want to talk about the issues? Help educate them. Then if you have a chance, take people to the polls who don't have a ride there. Let them know that the National Council of Negro Women has a ride to the vote effort where they're using Ubers and Lyfts to take people to the polls. Go work the polls. Work at the polls. Report irregularities that you see. Sign up to be an election judge. Do anything and everything so that fascism does not win, that evil does not win. This man said he is a fan of Adolf Hitler. Mm-hmm. Make sure that a fan of Adolf Hitler does not become the president of the United States. Make sure that fans of the KKK do not control the government. Make sure that America wins this election. Do everything you can.
And you know what I heard one day watching the news, Dana, that when he was growing up or even a grown man, he kept Hitler books and information on his bedside.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard that?
Yes, I have.
It's deep in him.
Generals, all of the generals and all the military people and all of the people in his cabinet who are now speaking out against him say that he talked about Hitler all the time, that he admired him, and he thought that that is the kind of person he should become. He's already said, I'll be a dictator from day one, and he means it.
Yes, I believe that. As a matter of fact, we can see it. Because that Madison Square Garden, let's talk about that for a moment.
You mean the Ku Klux Klan rally in disguise? That's what it was. That's what it was. Or how about the fact that they called an entire part of the United States in Puerto Rico a trash bin?
Isn't that something?
Floating in the ocean. I mean, it's just despicable, and it is evil. I keep saying it's pure evil. It's not ignorance, because he knows what he's doing. It's not stupidity or lack of education. It's evil that we're fighting.
And I also want to add, Dana, that because of all these court cases, he seems to be more desperate than ever now.
Yes.
Because he knows what could possibly happen if he's not elected.
Correct. Linda, let me ask you this. If you can't, in most states, vote for the President of the United States if you're a felon, how can you be convicted of 14 felonies and run for the President of the United States?
It's amazing.
They can't even vote, and he's a candidate. And he realizes that unless he is in office, where they can't do anything to him, he may have to go to jail. Yeah. It's not about anything other than his power, preserving his place, thinking about himself. It's doom and gloom that he's teaching people because he wants people to believe that without him, the country will go to, excuse this, hell in a handbasket.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And he's really not thinking about those people, because I've heard his staff talk about how he hates all of the people that are losers that come to his rallies, those ones that are not college educated, they don't have very much money, and they don't understand that.
No, they seem to, I don't know, they drink the Kool-Aid and they listen to what he says, or they read social media, but they don't think about what he's saying. He hates the same people they hate. He hates black people, Mexican people, Indian people. They don't like him because they believe that we are stealing their jobs, taking their place in society. He hates the people they hate, and so they relate to that. But they don't realize he hates them too. There's no distinction. He hates them too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he does. Well, Dana, give us a close, because we're coming to the end of our show, and this is the biggest election in our lifetime. And we really want people to get out there and vote if you haven't already.
Yes. I mean, I can say it again. Do everything, please, for your listeners, hear me. Do everything you can to protect the vote, to make sure that this election, that we are fairly represented. Go to the polls in overwhelming numbers, because if you don't, if it's a slim margin, we're not going to make it. We need you to vote, 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 vote. Tell your neighbors to vote. Tell everybody to vote. We need as many people as possible in the states that we need for the electoral votes to win. It won't be enough if we win the popular vote. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. Al Gore won the popular vote, but they did not win the electoral vote by millions, but they did not get the electoral votes. So we have got to be overwhelming in our response, and we have got to vote.
And I've noticed the Vice President Kamala has really, truly worked around and round like a mouse, running from pillar to post in those electoral states. She has truly worked it. She has.
Yep, in those key states where we need those electoral votes. We need eyes and ears. We need feet. We need hands. We need souls. We need everything we can get on our side.
Well, thank you, Dana Stebbins. We've done all we can. Now it's your turn. And we'll be talking to you next week after the election. And we are praying that we'll be excited about what we have to say.
Yep,
right.
I forgot that part. We need to pray, too, Linda. We need to pray.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Dana Stebbins, for being my guest today. Now we're going to go to my close. Life, death are in the power of the tongue. Please, when you get out ready to go out there and vote this time, just say some positive words to yourself and to your neighbors. And like Kamala Harris said, when we fight, we win. Remember that this time. When we fight, we win. You're listening to the Lyndia Grant Show. Until next week. Good day.
Thank you for listening to the Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with your host, Lyndia Grant.
Washington Informer religion columnist Lyndia Grant.
Be still and know that I am God. Psalms 46:10. Leave the stress of everyday life behind. Listen, a raging storm is stilled by the voice of God. A babbling brook carves a trail through the woods. The Creator talks to you and with you about His creations. It is music, God's music. God's heaven and earth is the orchestra. His creatures are the singers. His word, pure and honest, is the message. Be still and listen so that you can hear the voice of the Lord. And He said, know that I am God.
Read more in the religion column of the Washington Informer, an award-winning African-American newspaper. We don't report crime or gossip, just positive news. Pick up the Washington Informer or visit us online at WashingtonInformer.com. Call 202-561-4100 for more information.